a couple days have gone by and they were pursuing charges, but then they dropped charges because they don't want to do discovery. It's like a whole thing, but we haven't seen, at least on my side, I haven't seen anything come out yet. Big thing we're hopping on here. I did want to talk about this birthright citizenship that did come up. Birthright citizenship, obviously, as everybody knows, is under attack. Are you a citizen of this country just because you're born here? You see a lot of this stuff when you're out, looking through your stuff, looking through like social media, and you're like scrolling. One of the big things we'll do when we hop on next, we'll do the full opinion. I think that's a really good thing. That's what we did with the last one, Trump v. United States, and the last couple that we wanted to go through. We can go through the dissenting opinions. We can go through the full court case. I think that's the big thing for me, is just focusing more on that, especially in the time here to come. Speaking of time, that's the big thing I wanted to talk about. My schedule is going to be a little messed up in the near future. So to everybody who typically watches the show on Saturday or tunes in afterwards when I drop YouTube videos after the fact of the edited clips, unfortunately those will be slowing down for a while, if not stopping for a week or two while I just get things set up. I'll be back on in no time, I'm sure, after those couple breaks, because I was doing the once a week. I'm sure I'll be back and I'll be doing it more regularly. Big thing is just going to be making sure I get on with something to give you guys, give you an update, give you something. We were doing the weekly show and doing the weekly catch up, making sure everybody could get it, and I think that's good. But we got off of the Mueller report, we got off of reading the court opinions. I think we just need to get back to that, and the unfortunately I don't have time to do it tonight, but the dissenting opinion from the birthright citizenship case would be a good start. A lot of the stuff that's coming out right now is kind of incoherent, and I think one of the big things that we'll see is, as the international community starts looking at this, maybe they will do deals, with us to our face, but I feel like behind our back, our friends are laughing at us, and they probably should. I think that's one of the big things. Let me see, make sure I'm in focus. Everything's good. I think that's one of the big things to remember, is other people are looking at this and they can see our documents that say some of the stuff that's happening shouldn't be happening. So they can see that, we're breaking laws, the National Guard coming out, the Marines, whatever it might be. They can see these big breaks in the big breaks from our tradition, but not just tradition that is there for tradition's sake. It's more than just that. It's not just tradition for tradition's sake. It's what's allowed us to do quite well for ourselves for quite some time. But I said it last time, I'll say it again. I think the civic engagement is really low. I think mine, is low. I think everybody's on average. We are lower than the average bear. And I think that's what does us in, is a lot of people would have to do so much work to get caught up that people don't do that work. Good people end up checking out and don't have the time. They're bored, which I understand. But if you leave your head down long enough, I was just talking about this today with somebody, that there were people in, 1930s Germany who were like, oh, well, it can't happen here. It can't be this extreme. It can't be. Just as a matter of fact, I'm sure there were people there, just like every other time. The day before Pompeii exploded, I'm sure there was a guy talking about how he heard something, he saw something, he felt something, and he was trying to tell people, and nobody believed him. Sure, there was at least one guy. Maybe not. Who knows? All I'm saying is, sometimes the volcano does come, and in those moments, you don't want to listen to somebody who cried wolf. Like, who's the stock guy that's predicted the market going down? It's like, yeah, he predicted the market, but he predicted it like 600 times, and he's been right one time. I think that's the big thing with Alex Jones that gets Alex Jones in a lot of trouble. You make so many predictions and so many things into a conspiracy, and then all of a sudden you can't see your way out of it. You're lost in the sauce. So you get one right, but then you're the boy who cried wolf. You did too much of it, and now you can't get it. So important, if anybody does get a chance, read through this birthright citizenship, the brief summation, which don't trust summation, so grain of salt with it, is that it leaves this bit here. Maybe we'll rip through this, Questions and uncertainty. The justices kicked the cases challenging the birthright citizenship policy back down to the lower courts, where judges will have to decide how to tailor their orders to comply with the new ruling. The executive order remains blocked for at least 30 days, giving lower courts and parties time to sort out the next steps. The Supreme Court's ruling leaves open the possibility that groups challenging the policy could still get nationwide relief through class action lawsuits and seek certification as a nationwide class. Within hours after the ruling, 2 class action lawsuits had been filed in Maryland and New Hampshire seeking to block Trump's order. But obtaining nationwide relief through a class action is difficult, as courts have put up hurdles to doing so over the years, said Suzette Malview, a Washington and Lee University Law School professor. Quote, "It's not the case that a class action is a sort of easy breezy way of getting around this problem of not having a nationwide relief," said Malvo, who had urged the High Court not to eliminate the nationwide injunctions. So that's the ability to stop these things completely before any more harm is done. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who penned the court's dissenting opinion, urged the lower courts to, quote, "act swiftly on such requests for relief and to adjudicate the cases as quickly as they can so as to enable this court's prompt review," end quote, in cases, quote, "challenging policies as blatantly unlawful and harmful as the citizenship order." So the birthright citizenship, she believes, is unconstitutional. It is. A lot of this stuff, or unlawful. A lot of this stuff is just so obvious. Like I said, once other countries see this stuff, they can see our rules, our laws, and that we're flaunting them. How long before they start doing the same? It's not a good thing top down to be this corrupt. Opponents of Trump's order warned there would be a patchwork of policies across the states, leading to chaos and confusion without nationwide relief. Quote, "Birthright citizenship has been settled constitutional law for more than a century," end quote, said Krish Omera Vignaraha, president and CEO of Global Refuge, a nonprofit that supports refugees and migrants. Quote, "By denying lower courts the ability to enforce that right uniformly, the court has invited chaos, inequality, and fear." That was from the Associated Press. We just started a little snippet there just to give you an idea of why you should go read that if you do get a chance. I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm going to read it tonight before I go to bed, because that's when I have time to do it. Unfortunately, like I said, packing up, doing things, getting on some travel, going to go on a camping trip for some time. So wish me luck while I'm out there. Sorry for the short stream. Sorry for the short video the shorter video that's going to come out afterwards. But I figured I'd get on, I'd do something, do some of the updates. You know, I haven't seen anything big on Kilmar. Supreme Court rulings are starting to come out and be even more crazy. I'm sure people have seen the Iran, stuff kind of boiling up but then settling down. So the need for a thorough check-in, maybe not that there as much. So what I would typically do here is read through the Supreme Court case, which unfortunately I just don't have the time, or maybe go through the Mueller report, because it's been a long time since we've been through the Mueller report. But this is really good as well. When we start talking about Trump being in bed with Russia and all this stuff, it's really important to me to go through the documents that we do have access to while we have access to them. So the information game is going to be a big one, staying on top of things, making sure you know what you know, and reading the available information, because you got to have evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and I've made some extraordinary claims here. I'm sure if you go back and you watch the YouTube videos or you watch some of the clips, I'm sure you've heard some pretty extreme stuff come out of my mouth, but I don't think it's that extreme if you can look to the documents and see the malfeasance written clear as day, and we have evidence for it, and half the time they don't even argue that they didn't do it. They just say that we should be able to. At least that's what the Trump v. United States one was. So you do get some, like, paying attention to the Supreme Court cases. You get some inside info. I listened to the oral arguments and then read through the decision and the dissenting opinions. That was a big one. Sotomayor and I believe Jackson penned. All of those were really good and kind of eye-opening for Trump v. United States on just how blatant and shameless they can be. So when I see something now and somebody's like, "Oh, can you believe it?" And I'm like, yes, I read through where they did exactly that. I read through where they said, or the transcript where Trump said he was going to do that, from his speech, where he said this was going to be the case, or he said he was going to take away this freedom, whatever it might be. I think that stuff, the available documents that we have are very important, even if they are a little bit behind. Everybody says Russia, 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 or this type of stuff to dismiss it. But going through it, I think we found some juicy bits. And I do have all these pulled over on the side. Tons and tons of notes. So on a different day, we'll go through all the sins. Maybe not all the sins. All the sins would take too long. Sorry, as you guys can tell, that's the yawn of the end of the night. Hate to cut and run, but we wanted to get a couple things in. I feel like we got a couple things in, talking about how wonky the Supreme Court is, how wonky everything on the world stage kind of was for there a little bit, and then seems to be calming down. I don't know. I hope as I'm speaking, nothing's happening. There's not some inciting incident or anything. I really hope that nothing like that happens. But when you have stuff like this, come close together, that's the risk that you run. So I think that's the big thing that people don't think about before they jump in. Not to say that it even went terrible, but it's just how could it have gone, and then what we've seen in the past. You're doomed to repeat the past if you don't learn from it, something like that. But the idea that we need to look back, but not too much, make sure we find accurate ways of comparing this situation to other situations, and just making the best that we have. But at least for me, that's what I do. I've seen these people lie, cheat, and steal in the past. It's right on document, so I bring it out to here to you when I have time, and I make sure that I get it out. Really appreciate anybody who tuned in. I will be putting some of this on the YouTube channel, so if you don't see it here, you do see some on YouTube. There'll be at least that one more video. Sorry that it has been so lacking lately. Updating the system, updating a lot of the stuff back here outside the camera. So just hopefully here soon, coming back to you with a little bit more of a refined product. But at least at the moment, we're just trying our best to get something out. Get the update, get something, get talking, get a video, make sure that we're still putting stuff up there for you, for the people who tune in. We really do appreciate it. It's not something that I take lightly, stepping away or anything like that. I hope you don't think I'm just messing around, because that's definitely not it. I think I should come back for the big important events, and especially as I see them having bigger effects as time goes on. I think that's what we're really going to see is bigger and bigger effects from these bad decisions. Because to hear the people that have switched, the Dave Smiths of the world that are switching and now saying, oh, well, I shouldn't have voted, he should be impeached, this sort of thing. What did you not see in the first term, where if there is a crisis, which there always is a crisis, every president gets one, it seems like, or at least one, I should say. But when that person is put in charge, they are going to be the person that you have to go to. So when Trump isn't approving, I heard there's some stoppage to some FEMA funding and stuff like that for disaster relief. When you see this stuff, this is exactly what you voted for. This is exactly what you knew. He's not good in a crisis. He looks out for the one person that he cares about. And who are you to tell him any different? That's how he feels about it. You are not. Bernie Sanders during a podcast got offered, being negative to the other side, something, and he just rose above it. He just said, no, I speak for all the people, not just a certain few. That's how you have to be about it, and I feel like that has definitely been lost, especially by the Trumples of the world, the maggots of the world. So with that, I'll leave you. It's a little too late for me to keep on going, but I really do hope everybody has the day they deserve.